Welcome to episode 26 of Drew's Baseball Crew. We made it back to the home studio better than ever, right? It's great to be back here on episode 26 again of the Baseball Crew. Look, the background got the Robin Yount jersey up, got a few more Packers jerseys up there, you see, but looking to add some of my other jerseys up there. I have the Brewers Giannis Cream City jersey, right? It was a giveaway. I'll be adding that up there. You'll see that. Try to move it around a little bit here with being back in the studio. It's great to be back. And again, it's, looking forward to, again, talking about everything going on here in the world of baseball. So I guess let's get right into it here. Again, Friday, May 19th is the slate. And again, we have some really good pitching matchups. So for daily fantasy sports, if you're playing where it's one or two pitcher, we'll be talking more Fantasia side today where it's two pitchers. But then also, right, we have to talk about the new mode they have. They have the new picks mode, it's called. It's like high or lower where they give you lines, but at the same time, now it takes a full price picks underdog spin where you're making parlays and you can build parlays with these lines. So it's pretty exciting. Then there's a tier boost to payouts. So I would recommend go check that out. But right now, let's see our starting pitcher report, all done here. To start, we'll be talking about the game at 5:35 p.m. Central. Right, first game here on the slate. Zach Gallen is going to be at Pittsburgh against those Pirates, and Johan Oviedo is going to be pitching for Arizona, and he's against Arizona. He's got good stuff. It's just a matter of he's had some control issues, right? We've seen, so it gets tough with Oviedo. Picked him up as a streamer in fantasy baseball. Did not work out that great at all. Gallen, on the other hand, we know, right? I mean, Gallen's obviously going to be the premier guy today. But otherwise, going through other notable ones, Hauser's starting against the Rays today. He had a decent outing his last time out. I don't think we're ready to buy into Hauser yet, unfortunately. Marcus Stroman against the Phillies is going to be an interesting one. So average is 204 for the career against. Strikeout percentage isn't that great, but big sample size and decent numbers is what you'll get with Stroman today. Ranger Suarez is going to be a nice option. Granted, some of this is from his nice end of the 2021 season, but we're looking at Ranger Suarez. We're looking at XBA of 184, strikeout percentage of 36%, xWOBA of 219. I mean, really good numbers, right, with Suarez. But again, I don't know how he's going to fare against the Cubs. So, right, I mean, they're not in Wrigley, so we don't have to worry about the wind blowing out and whatnot. So we'll keep Suarez in mind. As a second guy and whatnot, I think Suarez is a solid option. And then we have Toronto and Baltimore. So Kikuchi has terrible numbers against this current Orioles roster. I'll get to some of the specific players, but I can tell you right now, they have an xWOBA as a team of 411 against him. So not ideal. Cal Quantrill's numbers, not so bad against the Mets in a smaller sample size. So could be interesting. We have the two Bryces going at Bryce Elder, Bryce Miller, two young studs. Bryce Miller against Atlanta. I want to do it, but questions there. Don't really feel too confident in either of those matchups. And then, so then we have Brandon Bielak against, and that's with the Astros against the Athletics. Athletics, right, offensively have been okay, nothing fabulous, but just catching those. Ken Waldichuk's the guy who's going to be starting for against the Houston Astros with the Athletics. Skeptical in that one as well. I like this Astros lineup against left-handed or right-handed pitching, honestly. Okay, here's one I'm trying to think about. It's Michael Kopech. Kopech's looked not great this year. He's honestly looked pretty bad, unfortunately. And he's against the Kansas City Royals roster, right? He's against those Royals who I feel, are better, right? They're better left-handed hitting or better hitting lefties. Well, with Kopech, though, what we're looking at is, numbers are XBA 233 for his career against them. and then just Xwoba number. I'm looking at that. It's like, okay, well, I really think this could be an ideal matchup here for Kopech. Right, he gets the Royals. We got him under weather. It's in Chicago today, so I'd circle that one. Gonsolin is coming off his best start of the year. Tony Gonsolin of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's going to be against the St. Louis Cardinals roster. They are. It's interesting. Like I think of this, this is ideal for them, right? I mean, Kershaw, lefty. I mean, they hit a lot of home runs yesterday. We saw, but honestly, I think Gonsolin, how he's pitched as of late, he's looked really good. He's looked really deceptive. I'm liking Gonsolin today against this St. Louis Cardinals squad. And yeah, and then I was just thinking Steven Matz is the guy they're going against. I don't think that's going to be one you're going to take today. I'm not confident on him doing well or like not doing. I feel like his matchup today is going to be tough to predict. I got a few more guys we got to talk about. So Sandy Alcantara is out in a big Oracle Park. You love to see that. Hopefully a nice bounce back start. If you get him at a discount, you take Alcantara. James Paxton against San Diego. Paxton looked phenomenal his last start. You can go back, type in James Paxton, 2023 debut highlights. I mean, brilliance. He was dotting every corner. Velo was up. Yeah, honestly, Paxton against San Diego was buying into recent trends in that case because the numbers don't do justice there. Paxton, pretty good matchup. And also Blake Snell, 210 XBA for his career off this current Red Sox roster, and then also next we'll have 283. Last one, I got two more. It's actually both guys. It's Joe Ryan and Reed Detmers. They're squaring off in Angel Stadium. That's gonna be a good pitching duel, I think. XBA of 234 for Detmers, XBA of 169 for Joe Ryan. I'm gonna go over to for the in-depth pitching report. We'll go over to Ballpark Pal. Again, their links down below. They do a great job breaking down all of the information. Right, we talk weather-based park factors. That's what we need. Right, but looking at it, the top pitchers for Ballpark Pal, it seems Joe Ryan's one of the top ones. Maybe I didn't give Clark Schmidt enough, justice in my initial pitcher preview, as he is actually he's number 3 for them in terms of strikeouts they predict today. They like Clark Schmidt against that Reds lineup. But before I go more into the pitcher side, I want to talk about park factors. Like they do the plus minus for runs. The reason I'm not looking into those pitchers there in Cincinnati is Great American Ballpark today, plus 25%, probability shift for home runs, and then plus 8% for runs. Every other place due to the weather today is all negative. Literally every other place. Even the dome stadiums are negative. Don't ask me why or how. But I can tell you, weather-wise, like main concerns, because of course with DFS we know we're not going to get any help if games are postponed. Let's pull up the line. Let's look at the weather report here. So right away, right, it's St. Louis that we're going to be monitoring today, the main one. I also think monitor Chicago. Weather is just not going to be ideal there. I can tell you right now. But over-under wise, what they're anticipating in terms of like that Paxton Snell game is over-under is only 8 runs compared to these 9.5, 9. Any other big one? 10.5 for Cincinnati and New York, rightfully so. And 7.5 for Milwaukee and Arizona, Pittsburgh. That's what those guys pitching. But going back, pitcher report, kind of hit on it. I'd go Gallen today, honestly. And right now, I mean, what Vegas is telling you when they give you that over-under of 7.5 Milwaukee, Hauser might not be a bad play in terms of, just kind of what they're feeling there. But personally, I think there's better options today. I like, again, Sandy Alcantara still, if you can get him at a good, decent discount and whatnot. But Joe Ryan, I like. I mentioned, I think Reed Detmers, honestly, he might be underrated in a sense. So, if you get Detmers today, I'd go for it against Minnesota for sure. But then, again, Those are kind of the main guys. I mentioned Tony Gonsolin as well. I like Gonsolin. It's just that weather is kind of the concern for me now. So I'd keep those in mind. And then also Ranger Suarez. And I'm going to be posting. I was going to post again probably an over-under entry, like right the picks entry for prize, or not for prize picks, for Fantasia. But I want to give some lineup details and such here too. Because, right, the picks feature is new with Fantasia, and it's awesome. And you can check it out with the link down below. So I want to keep those in mind. Let's go to hitter matchups. But before we do that, we have to thank again our sponsor of today's, right, Point Brewery. Right? Just because I'm not Milwaukee anymore doesn't mean I can go to Point Brewery. And Point Brewery's not even in Milwaukee. That's the best part. It's in Stevens Point, right? It's in the middle of the state. So cheers to the Point Diet Root Beer. I got to make my way out there. Like their brewery, it's open. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. And I want to go out there and go to their store. We can get some of this in store there. And yeah, I mean, my girlfriend lives in Stevens Point, or goes to school there and is going to be living there. So it's got to check it out. Got to enjoy the vanilla aftertaste with it as well. Going to some Brewer games coming up. You know what's going to be there. Come on. All right. Check them out down below. Thank you, Point Brewery, again. Let's go. Here are those matchups. To start, let me give you some wild ones. Jacob Stallings against Anthony DeSclafani. 583 average with a home run, 1 strikeout, and the OPS over 1,400. So Stallings has seen DeSclafani very well so far. JT Realmuto off of Marcus Stroman, 7 for 20, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Very nice. Next up, I was just hyping up James Paxton. Then we go and we get these numbers. It's 7 for 23 is Xander Bogaerts off James Paxton with 3 home runs to 4 strikeouts. So Bogaerts, just looking, I like to bring player history in, of course, because it can kind of show us how have these players seen, right, pitchers in some sort of sample size. But then it's like, how much do you weight this is the question, right? We're trying to weight this, with also the weather going on today, and then also just like right the conditions, what ballpark they're in. A lot of factors come into this. That's the beauty of DFS. So we're gonna keep going through them, right? Josh Bell off Carlos Carrasco. He's got a 420 on average against him. So far, no home runs though, but a walk to go along with that. Kevin Kiermaier off Kyle Gibson's batting .316 in 21 plate appearances so far. Decent numbers. Danny Jansen off of Kyle Gibson. I got Danny Jansen Dynasty. 5 for 7. Small sample size, but 3 extra base hits in that. Only 1 strikeout. Jorge Mateo off Yusei Kikuchi. Here are those numbers I was talking about with the Orioles. You might like an Orioles stack against Kikuchi. Honestly, might be the play today. 4 for 9 is Jorge Mateo off Kikuchi. And then we go to Ryan Mountcastle. Listen to this. He's 4 for 9, but he's 3 home runs in 11 plate appearances, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Mountcastle, Mateo, nice stack there. And then just throwing Anthony Santander, 3 for 7 with a home run as well. And again, okay, I feel like these are smaller sample sizes, but again, how Kikuchi's performed this year and just his overall numbers, right? I mean, it might be the matchup today. It might be the one you take advantage of so far. That's the stack I'm looking at. Andrew Kinsner has yet to get out by Tony Gonsolin. Serious. He's so far 3 for 3. So obviously I think it's going to change today, but the number to keep in mind, is how Kinsner has performed. Next up, I have a few more guys I want to talk about. Andrew Vaughn against Zach Greinke is a decent matchup there. OPS is around 900. Josh Harrison off of Marcus Stroman. Again, OPS there of 929. So those are some of the main matchups I'm looking at. Not really, there's not really some other ones. Luis Arraez against DeSclafani interests me a little bit, but let's talk, how is Ballpark Pal adjusting for these player matchups today? Well, who are they suggesting as your top guys? Right? Who did I miss? And they like Arizona. They like how Arizona is going to do against Jose Oviedo is what the Ballpark Pal model prefers today. So when I say that, they're thinking guys like Corbin Carroll, right? Making some stack of Corbin Carroll, Josh Rojas, a stack that you make with that lineup. I'm thinking like a 3-man, and I'll kind of break down what we're looking at with that projected lineup and how a theoretical stack would look in that Arizona game today. So, right, I'm thinking like Josh Rojas, right? You get the leadoff guy, and then you potentially go Geraldo Perdomo. I mean, he's the 9-hitter, so you could do a 9-1-3 stack. Then you go Perdomo, Rojas, and Carroll. That's like I would all be for that. And it's not even playing matchups. I mean, Marte switch hitter batting second could complement that. Lourdes Gurriel's as hot as ever right now at the 5 spot, so maybe even include him. Or you could even go the bottom of the order stack. You could go Pavin Smith, Dominic Fletcher, and then Geraldo Perdomo. So kind of like do the stack that way too. There's a lot of options with that Arizona squad. And again, the models, they like that stack today. They also like the Baltimore stack. So keep all those in mind that I've mentioned. Danny Jansen. I like Danny Jansen preferably today. He's going to be my catcher in DFS. Just letting you all know on that. But otherwise, those are kind of the main matchups I've hit on that I would be looking at. I'm not saying do a double stack either because I don't know about that Arizona-Pittsburgh game. Because if Oviedo's on, he's on. Touch the bottom of the order there. You look at Shohei Ohtani's liked by the model as well, especially to hit a home run. So the top probability guys for home runs, it's Tony Kemp plus 58%. I'm serious. Tony Kemp is on the top of this chart. But looking at like Ohtani, Randall Grichuk, honestly, that's a pretty good matchup. Model likes it too. Alex Bregman and Ken Waldichuk, that's a good matchup there for Bregman, who destroys lefties. And then those Cincinnati guys who are best hitting conditions today. So guys like Tyler Stevenson is one who I think of. But otherwise, keep all this in mind when you're making the plays. I'm gonna have up my picks entry on Fantasia. If you want to join me, have more interest on it, leave a comment down below. I can definitely connect you with that. Otherwise, good luck to you all today here on that DFS slate. And again, scheduling-wise, I'll hit on it right now. I'm going to be gone next week for 5 days. I'm going to be on a finance retreat in Vermont. So what that means is I'm going to have some content already loaded up, and I do already. So Monday, I'll be recording tomorrow night, actually, an episode of Drew's Sports Crew. So 2 days, it'll air 2 days later on that. And then next Tuesday, episode of Journey to Million. Got you covered. We're going to be recording that tomorrow as well. In the morning there, we'll be talking, right? We'll keep it relevant because it'll air a few days later. So we're going to talk like general fantasy football stuff that's going to be relevant no matter what. We're going to talk about, we're going to play some games, right? Those are always fun, interactive games. Love to have people join in on those. And then lastly, we're going to be doing, when I say fantasy football, like trade stuff. We're just going to be having a good time. That's what we do. On Wednesday, then, I'm going to be airing an episode of Drew's College Athlete Spotlight. I had a club volleyball player who's played at some national tournaments on, Maddie Scherenbrock, and getting to talk to her about her journey, how club volleyball, has kind of evolved, especially in the state of Wisconsin. Exciting stuff to hear about. So that'll be Wednesday. So that's going to wrap it up for me at Drew Sports Crew, all platforms. Great to be back in the home studio. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.